Hey, everybody. Oh, what happened to my computer? Hold on a second. I got it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the thing. We've got Jackson Hegel coming up to talk about the new Communist Party in America. And then we're going to have on the guys from the Red Pill podcast to debunk this thing. What was the name of the Sound and Fury? The Sound of Freedom. Sound and Fury is that's a play, isn't it? Anyway, the Sound of Freedom movie turns out, according to Red Pill podcast, it's bullshit. Didn't know that. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
First up, so you know how so now the new thing is the media is rallying around Kamala, whichever way is not hateful. And they're saying that she was never the border czar. I always thought that Joe Biden had appointed her in charge of immigration and the border. He was like giving that to her, which is why she went down and told all those people in Central and South America and Latin America. Where is Latin America? Why do they call it Latin America? It's how dumb I am. I don't know any of that stuff. Isn't that that's a remarkable level of ignorance, right?
I just want to let you know that the Sound and the Fury is William Faulkner. That's William
Faulkner. I know where Central America is. I know where South America is. I'm not sure what Latin America. Do you know what Latin America is? So you don't know. So Misha doesn't know. Steph, do you know what Latin America is?
I don't.
So, and you're a Mexico.
That's right. Yes,
you're
but
I
know where Mexico is.
I know where Mexico is.
Okay.
So you have a master's degree and you're a Mexico. So and you don't know where Latin America is. But anyway, watch this. Someone put this together. Our friends over at whatever that symbol is put this together about the hypocrisy of the mainstream media. They said she was the border czar, and now they're saying she's not. And this is a great juxtaposition and compilation. Let's
quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
People gonna have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar. She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
That's MRC Newbuster put that together. So all those people were calling her the border czar on places like CNN, and no one was correcting them. So now it's all of a sudden bad to say she's the border czar. And first of all, America's supposed to hate Russia, but we keep appointing czars. I don't understand what that is. But I want to show you this. Vice President Kamala Harris, the President of the United States asked me to lead our diplomatic work with Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to address the situation at the southern border. We have to address the root cause of migration. It won't be easy work, but it's necessary. So she technically doesn't use the word czar here, but all those other people use the word czar. Do you want to hear it again? Because I do.
Quote unquote border czar. Vice President Harris was not a border czar.
I like how they say it so indignantly. She was not a border czar, except you guys said so on your news network. Let's watch.
Meantime, Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris.
So that's ABC. That's a local ABC saying it.
Facing some backlash.
What he said about Harris and immigration was not true. She was never appointed border czar.
She was, hey, do you ever do that kind of fact checking on ivermectin being horse dewormer and not a human medicine? You ever do that? You ever do that about hydroxychloroquine? You ever do that? You ever do that on safe and effective? You ever do that? You ever do that kind of same debunking with that same kind of indignancy in your voice. Indignancy. I don't know if that's a word. So, and here we are. Here's this is CNN. On CNN, he's going to call her the border czar.
This will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
And now they didn't. The CNN lady doesn't go, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a GOP Republican hate talking point. They're just like, oh yeah, she's the border czar.
People gonna have to counter the misinformation. You already hear folks talking about the border czar. She wasn't the border czar.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris,
That's
Vice President
CBS.
Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
Oh.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
They were very critical of Kamala.
Okay, so this is this guy, Carl something is his name. And watch how indignant he is.
Now, she wasn't the border czar. That's what Republicans labeled her.
So that was on ABC. He said that. I think his name is John Carl. And now this is also on ABC. Watch this.
We're very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Now what she's up against is folks lying about her border record, calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris.
So that was this is on MSNBC
About her border.
saying very indignantly, talk about border czar. She's getting that Sam Harris crinkle in her. Anyway, but watch this.
Calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
The Biden team didn't declare her the border czar. They wanted her to work on kind of the root causes of immigration.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
So this is great compilation because it shows you ABC, CBS, CBS. Them saying one thing, them saying another thing. This is amazing.
Calling her sort of the border czar, which wasn't necessarily the case.
So the border, if they weren't planning to address it in a major way, do not make her your border czar.
So there she is next to Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang seems like a nice guy, but he's just as big a bullshitter as anybody. And his third way party was a no way party. Whatever happened to that party, by the way? They didn't run anybody. Because the corporations have it all. He's just another corporate guy. Okay.
She met with some of the Northern Triangle countries, but nothing has effectively changed.
MRC Newsbusters, nice job. And let me show you this. Here she is talking with Lester Holt. Watch this.
One other topic I wanted to talk to you about, but let me just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border.
This whole thing, I just gotta laugh. It's this whole thing about the border. You guys are such assholes. You're so wrong. We've been to the border. We're going to the border. We've been there. So, oh, really? Because
we've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Quay.
I can't wait to play that. I wanted to save this for the live show August 16th in Chicago, but I couldn't help myself. I will probably also play it there because I've seen this before and I forgot what she said. So hopefully people will forget in 2 weeks.
As a border district has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Listen, I care about what's happening at the border. I'm in Guatemala because my focus is dealing with the root causes of migration. There may be some who think that that is not important, but it is my firm belief that if we care about what's happening at the border, we better care about the root causes and address them. And so that's what I'm doing.
Okay. She also hasn't been to Europe. That was quite an answer.
Yeah, I was wondering if Lester Holt was on the phone call with Van Jones, because it doesn't seem like it.
Doesn't seem like he was on that call with Van Jones or 20,000 black men.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see something you've never seen before. You mean you bullshit us about 20,000 black men? Because that's what we haven't seen before. But thanks for doing that. That's what I think. So guess what they just did in Congress? They passed a bill to condemn the Biden administration border policy and Kamala Harris.
What?
So, of course, it was the yays, 213 Republicans. None of them voted against it. Democrats, they got 6 of them to vote yay. Can you look up who those 6 Democrats are? I bet they all come from border states. I bet they're all from like Texas, Arizona. Is New Mexico a border state? Does it have a border? I don't think so. Do you see how geography, not my strong. You know what else is not my strong suit? Most things. But I have a spidey sense for bullshit. It is a border state. Look at that.
It looks like it was at least 6 Democrats, Representative Yadira Caraveo of Colorado. Henry Cuellar of Texas. John Davis of North Carolina. Jared Golden of Maine. Marie Glusenkamp Perez of Washington. And
so
Mary,
that sounds like a Latino.
And Mary Patola of Alaska.
Of course. But you know what's interesting about that? Lester Holt brings up that guy.
Talk to you about. Just quickly put a button. Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar.
So that's that guy Cuellar that you just read, right, Steph?
Yes.
That's that guy Cuellar.
Yes.
He's from Texas?
Yes.
So he brought it up, and then Cuellar voted to condemn the Biden administration's border policy and Kamala Harris. Wow, look at that. Hey, come on. The border czar doesn't need to go to the border any more than some guy dressed as a Burger King needs to visit every Burger King across the country. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
They both have the same actual level of decision-making power in their institutions. Let's be honest. Okay, so that's the border czar. Oh, it's time for Jackson Hinkle. Okay, so let's take a break and we'll be right back with Jackson, the communist, the scumbag communist, Jackson Hinkle.